Now, before I even start, quick disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a solicitor, I'm not a barrister. I'm not a legal representative. Perish the thought. I'm just a man. But I'm a man with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a discerning mind to critically think with, and to come to a conclusion based on critical thought and morals of what is right and what is wrong. If you've got the Jacobs, next time you go to court, and let's be honest, everyone goes to court at some time in their life. It used to be a rare thing, now everyone gets a chance. Everyone gets to play. Why? Because they keep writing people into criminality. You don't have to commit a crime. What used to be acceptable is now considered criminal in hundreds and thousands of places and situations and examples. But if it's just a misdemeanor, instead of just going along to get along, trying to save your own ass and get yourself out of the shit and making life harder for everyone else, try saying, no, I don't want a solicitor. Go away. You're a liar. No, I'm not pleading guilty. There is no victim. As long as there's no victim, as long as you know morally within yourself you have not done anything wrong to hurt anybody that constitutes as a crime. Not as a misdemeanor. Not a misdemeanor. Well, a misdemeanor is not a crime. A felony is not necessarily a crime. That's a bit here and there-ish. Breaking a rule or a minor infringement is probably not a crime. As annotated in a constitution, in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia, for something to constitute as a crime, there must be a victim. Where if you caused hardship, a hindrance, disenfranchisement, where you've damaged somebody's name, reputation or right to earn a living or to live in peace, or any harm, physical harm, loss of property, that sort of stuff. If you've done something that has caused that, then you probably have committed a crime. If you haven't, you're not a criminal. Stop knocking yourself around. Stop feeling guilty for something that you haven't done. You haven't committed a crime. Plead not guilty. And don't take the plea deal. Don't do it. Will they give you a record? Not a criminal one. A statutory record. That's all you'll get. I've been given a fine without being charged of a crime. Go figure. How does that work? For forgetting to renew a firearms licence once. $500 fine and $25 to victims of crime. I was never charged for anything. I never actually got charged. All the charges were dropped. That was apparently to teach me a lesson to not forget. What's that? What is that? That was apparently the magistrate doing me a favour. You tell me the Magistrates Court of Petty Sessions is for anything other than revenue. Like I said in the last video, many others. When I was in Supreme Court for a murder trial, an attempted murder trial, where the charges were dropped by the detectives down to assault and wounding, because he was a member of the Rotary Club and the Lions Club, and he cooked sausages, sometimes at public barbecues, apparently. Sounds a bit more Masonic to me. But anyway, I digress. They told me, because then as soon as I walked into the courtroom, I said, it's good to see the right coat of arms, the right royal seal on the wall instead of the kangaroo and emu like downstairs. They had the lion and the unicorn upstairs. A different seal. Got a royal seal and an Australian kangaroo court seal. The kangaroo and the emu. It's a kangaroo court. It's all about revenue. They said themselves, we don't associate with those down there. That was the state barrister and the Crown prosecutor. The Crown barrister and a Crown prosecutor, not a police prosecutor. A Crown barrister and a Crown prosecutor. Who said that I'd done a marvellous job and didn't even need any coaching, and the coaching that I was getting prior to them being given the case was bad advice from Detective Fitzgerald and his chosen prosecutor. I told them I didn't trust him and I wanted someone else to represent me, and then I ended up with these people, and they told me a few home truths. They don't have anything to do and they don't associate with those downstairs. That's just a revenue machine. Something to those words. That's just a court of revenue. That's not the court of law. Up here we do law, down there they do revenue. That's what they said. Paraphrasing slightly because, you know, that's going back a few years. March 2019, that was. When the Advocate wrote a bullshit story about me. They put in completely different reasons as to why they have. Anyway, that's going off the track. Stop bending the knee. Stop acquiescing. Stop submitting to things that are unlawful. You have a right to autonomy of your own body. You do not have to submit to molestation. Why do you think some religions don't allow for blood transfers? Why do you think that is? And the hospital cannot go against it. They do not. Some religions do not allow for organ transplants, and the hospital is not allowed to go against it, even though they have an Hippocratic oath to first do no harm. That's going along with the Hippocratic oath of first do no harm. Because to go against that will of that person, you can't force somebody to take blood. You can't force somebody to take somebody else's organs. You cannot force somebody to make them take a needle. You cannot force somebody to make them let you insert anything anywhere in their body. It's molestation. That's why it is written that everyone has the right to live, travel and go about their life unhindered and unmolested, or without hindrance and without molestation, without inconvenience, without loss, without disenfranchisement. We have all these God-given unalienable, not alienable, unalienable. You cannot lean on those rights. Learn your words. You cannot lean on those rights. You can convince somebody to surrender them, but that's not the right thing to do, is it? That is forcing someone to do something by duress, under threat, by bluffing them, by saying that they could suffer something that they're not going to suffer. Just like I will be very surprised. I'm quite prepared to take. I'm quite prepared to take the loss to get the conversation out there. But I'll be a little bit surprised if I don't get this overturned on the 23rd of December. Because I'm not going to play their silly fucking game. I'm sorry, I'm not going to play the silly game. I'm just not going to. I'm not here to support the legal system's revolving door of revenue. I wasn't put here for that. I'm not a capital L, capital A, capital W law abiding citizen. I'm a capital L, lowercase O-R-E, capital L, lowercase A-W abiding sovereign, Christian, man of God. What is a sovereign? It ain't a citizen. A sovereign is a free man of God living freely on God's earth. God didn't give us earth. He gave us dominion over the earth. Not the same thing. So there you go, Mr. Real Estate Agent Man. You don't own shit. Where's your receipt? God didn't give us earth. He gave us dominion over it. We're supposed to be good custodians. Anyone who has legal custody over a child, if they don't do the right thing, can lose that child. Like it or not. He gave us dominion over the earth, not over one another. It's what gives anyone the right to say this little patch of dirt here is worth this much money and you're not allowed to go on it or live on it unless you give me this much money. There's nothing wrong with an agreed upon exchange of goods or an agreed upon exchange of any sort. Skills. Money isn't evil in itself, but the love of it is. Greed. Since when has anybody paid a fair price for anything? Everything's a rip-off. Energy's a rip-off, rent's a rip-off, food's a rip-off. Everything. We're getting less and less and less, but we're paying more and more and more. The same thing goes with this so-called fucking law system, which is nothing more than a legal system with a court of revolving door of revenue. Stop calling it court. It's a jester's court. It's a fucking joke. It's not the King's Court, that's the jester's court. Place is full of clowns. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The cost it has to you, if you know you're within your right, it's like, just because nobody believes a truth doesn't stop it from being true. And because everybody believes a lie doesn't make it true. It doesn't stop it from being a lie. It's still a lie. A lie is a lie. And the truth is the truth. Let's not get shit twisted. It is what it is. No, not necessarily. Maybe it is what it was made by men. Doesn't have to be. So why is you all running around calling yourself Christians? Something like 60 or 70% of the world actually call themselves Christian. Well, given those numbers, a lot of you must be awfully fucking weak, bending the knee to fucking tyranny and legislation and the laws and doctrines of men. Well, you're scared you're going to get fucking hurt. So? You're scared you might get inconvenienced in some way. Do you think Jesus was worried about that? Do you think his disciples were worried about that? Do you think Gandhi was worried about that? Let's get away from the biblical side of things. Do you think Gandhi was worried about that? Do you think Mother Teresa was worried about that? Do you think Ned Kelly was worried about that? And his brothers, the Kelly gang? All you people call yourselves fucking hard cunts. It's even pathetic when I see some of you bikies who go to court. You don't roll over on each other. Nah. But you play the fucking game. You play the game. You accept plea deals and so forth. Sorry, that's weak as piss. I don't care how tough you are if you can come round and rough me up. I still think that's weak as piss. Because you're worried about yourself. Self-interested. I have no interest in self-interested people. None whatsoever. I have no interest in alpha males running around beating their chest, doing more harm and nothing but harm and zero good. These are a waste of oxygen and body organs. Am I judging you as people? No, I have no right to condemn anyone to hell. I'm making a judgment call. I'm calling it how I see it, and how I see it is how it is. If you don't like it, then maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm over the target. Maybe I've hit a nerve. Hurts, don't it? I still have those moments myself. But at least I have what it takes to look in the mirror and say, maybe I need to change my fucking thinking a bit. Maybe I was in the wrong, maybe I said the wrong thing in that situation. And if I am now, and that can be pointed out in a way that makes some kind of biblical sense to me. Some kind of moral grounding sense. Then I will change, I will pivot. I will change my point of view. Or maybe it just might need to change the way I say it a bit. Yeah, nah, I don't think so. You see, if you can't have an open, honest discussion at the risk of upsetting somebody's feelings, you're never going to have an open, honest discussion, are you? You're just not gonna. You're never going to come to a resolution because both of you are just going to sit there and acquiesce to each other and be pussified and be politically correct and be worried about hurting each other's feelings, and you're never really going to get what's needed to be said on the fucking table. So are you really guilty? Stop pleading guilty. If you've done nothing wrong morally, you haven't hurt anyone, you ain't guilty. Stop it. Love you all. God bless.